Hello everybody and welcome to our third session in novel. I am Miss Mariam Amir, English teacher for Prep 1, and I'm here today to cover with you the summary of chapter 3. Let's start now from slide 3. It was fortunate that Dabt was there to think for Rodolph Rosendal and Fritz too. Dabt decided to put the king into the wine cellar down below and to tie the fat woman, Johann's mother, up and put a cloth in her mouth and locked her in another cellar room because she might overhear their plans and inform Michael about them. Then Dabt ordered Joseph to guard the cellar until they returned. Rodolph, Dabt, and Fritz jumped on the horses, and on the way, Dabt explained to Rodolph the king's past life, his family, his likes, his dislikes, his friends, companions, and servants. Indeed, he told him the rules of Ruritanian court and promised Rodolph Rosendal to be at his side at every moment of the day. But Fritz spoke little, riding like a man in a dream. Now guys, let's move to slide 4. They arrived at the station and Fritz had calmed down enough to explain the surprised station master the king's change of plans. The train stopped and they were an hour earlier than they expected. Fritz and Dabt jumped out, took off their hats and held the door for Rodolph. A moment later, there was hurry and confusion, men running up and they away again, men leading to the restaurant, men getting on horses and riding at great speed in various directions. While Rodolph was still swallowing the last drop of his cup of coffee, the bells of the city began ringing and the sound of the band and the loud shouting came to his ears. He heard the people crying, "God save the king!" For that Dabt smiled and whispered, "God save them both," to himself in the train on his way to the restaurant. And he meant the two kings, Rodolph and the real king. Now guys, let's move to slide 5. Marshal Starkins greeted Rodolph with a few loyal words and gave a short explanation of the absence of Duke of Streltsau and said that he suddenly felt ill and couldn't come to the station, and he asked for a permission to wait for Rodolph at the church. At the last time, several people came forward and no one showed any doubts, so Rodolph began to feel confidence. On their way, they found that Streltsau was divided into 2 parts. The first part, there were wide and modern streets, but behind the modern streets, there was a very different area that made up the old town. In the wide modern streets, the rich people lived, and in the narrow, dirty streets lived the poor people, disloyal and often criminal classes. The new town was for the king, but the old town was preferred by Michael. Now guys, as you see now, we have on slide 6 Rodolph Rosendal, and now he can feel the confidence between all the people of Ruritania. Now let's move to slide 7. Rodolph asked to ride alone 50 yards to show that the king trusted the people. So he told the soldiers to ride ahead and behind him, not next to him. Dabt knew that the people in the old town supported the Duke of Streltsau, the Duke Michael, and he was afraid that Rosendal would be hurt or attacked there. And if Rodolph was killed, his position would be difficult. While Rodolph was walking alone 50 yards, he heard several people say pleasant things about him. But the greater part remained silent, and Michael's picture was to be seen in the most of the windows. When Rodolph arrived, he saw Duke Michael with deep dark eyes and black hair, and he saw also Flavia, but he wasn't comfortable because he had forgotten to ask Dabt the state of his feelings and how far matters had gone between the princess and the king. So he kept silent till Flavia started to talk to him. Now guys, let's move to slide 8. As you see now, we have Flavia and Rodolph Rosendal, and Flavia said to Rodolph Rosendal that he must keep a better watch on Michael because the Duke didn't enjoy himself that day. As you see now guys, we have finished chapter 3 and we are ready now to answer the questions on chapter 3 on slide 9. Question number 1. What did Daft do for the fat woman and why? Daft tied the fat woman, Johan's mother, up and put a cloth in her mouth and locked her in another cellar room because she might overhear their plans and inform Michael about them. Question number 2 describes the city of Strelsau. Strelsau was divided into 2 parts. There were wide and modern streets, but behind the modern streets there was a very different area that made up the old town. In the wide modern streets, the rich people lived, and in the narrow dirty streets lived the poor people, disloyal and often criminal classes. The new town was for the king, but the old town was preferred by Michael. As you see now guys, we have finished chapter 3 and also we answered 2 questions. Thank you for listening and thank you for your concentration. Bye bye.